Welcome to Midnight Mythos. Tonight, we leave behind the noise of the world and step into a dream woven from the ancient threads of time. Close your eyes and breathe slowly. With each breath, imagine yourself drifting through a misty forest, moonlight flickering through the leaves. Your footsteps silent. You come to a clearing where a loom glows faintly under the stars. Around it, they wait. The unseen weavers of life and death, the whisperers of prophecy, the quiet observers of our every joy and sorrow. Tonight, we will be digging deep into the Greek mythology. We all know that the Greek mythology holds a rich culture and tradition. Tonight, we look into one such case, the Sisters of Fate, known across myth and time as the Moirai, the Norns, the Rojanitsi, and more. As you step deeper into this mythic forest, the night air cools against your skin. Somewhere nearby, water trickles over smooth stones. A single owl calls, a reminder that even in the stillness, the world turns. You are not alone here. The past walks beside you. Ancient footsteps leaving no trace. Myths are not just stories. They are echoes of the questions we've always asked. Why am I here? Who controls the path I walk? And can I change where it ends? Let us begin our journey through myth, memory, and midnight silence. And so we wander further. The trees seem taller here. Their branches arch like cathedral ceilings overhead. The stars above blink slowly, as if remembering. There's a hush in the air. Not silence, but something older. A reverence. As if this place knows the weight of what we're about to recall. Tonight is not about answers, but about wonder. It is about returning to the moment where belief and story were the same. When people lit fires and gathered to whisper truths shaped as tales. When fate was not abstract, but a thread you could almost feel. Can you hear it? Somewhere in the shadows, a spindle turns, a thread unwinds. Soft, ancient, delicate. The Greeks called them the Moirai, three sisters who spun, measured, and cut the threads of every mortal life. Not gods, not demons, but something older, something elemental. Their story is not just myth, it's memory, passed down through firelight, etched into marble, carried in the echoes of old prayers. Their loom doesn't just weave destinies, it weaves meaning. So let the world fall away now. Let the ticking clock stop. Let the questions soften and come with me. We begin at the edge of myth, where every fate begins, where the weavers are waiting, where your thread may already be in their hands. The Greek Moirai, spinners of destiny. In the realm of ancient Greece, high above Olympus and low within Hades, there lived three sisters who spun the fabric of every life. Clotho, the spinner, would draw from the void and weave the very beginning of one story, a thread of potential, delicate and bright. Lachesis, the measurer, would stretch the thread across time, determining its length, its twists and turns, its moments of triumph and sorrow. And Atropos, the cutter, would wait patiently. With silver shears, she would one day cut the thread, ending the tale. Their names were rarely spoken aloud, except in hushed tones by poets, priests, and those standing near death. Some believed they were daughters of Nyx, the goddess of night itself. Others swore they were born of Themis, divine law, bound to justice rather than emotion. Even Zeus, the king of gods, dared not challenge them. For while Olympus played with mortal fate, the Moirai defined it. They appear in many Greek tragedies, not as villains or saviors, but as inevitability personified. Achilles, foretold to die young yet glorious. Oedipus, doomed before he could speak. Each danced on invisible strings, woven long before they took their first breath. The loom of the Moirai was said to glow with threads of every shade, golden for joy, crimson for pain, shadowy gray for mystery. No two threads were alike. Some crossed many others, leaders, lovers, artists. Some twisted in solitude, some frayed early, others stretched across generations. Temples once held rituals not to change fate, but to understand it. Pilgrims would offer olive branches, honey, even their own hair, hoping to see a glimpse of their strand among the others. But the Moirai never responded. They worked in silence, in rhythm, weaving destinies with fingers stained by time. Imagine seeing the loom. Would you search for your thread? Would you tug it, cut it, tie it to another? Some whispered that the loom still sits hidden within the stars, turning slowly as each new life begins. But others believed it lies within us, not in the heavens or the underworld, but in the quiet moments of choice. Each time we hesitate at a crossroads, feel a pull toward a stranger, or dream of things that have not yet happened. They say it is the Moirai, brushing our soul with unseen thread. In ancient homes, some elders claimed to feel the moment Atropos cut a thread nearby. A sudden chill, a flickering lamp, a silence too deep to ignore. Children were told to whisper a blessing when such a feeling passed, not in fear, but in reverence. For another soul's story had ended, and the tapestry had shifted. There are stories of seers, cursed or blessed, who claimed to glimpse the tapestry itself. Eyes clouded with stars, they spoke of patterns too vast for language. Some went mad. Others were said to go blind, for the beauty of fate was too much for mortal eyes. Even today we feel echoes of the loom, in coincidences too perfect to dismiss, in tragedies that seem fated, in love that feels older than memory. Some call it intuition, others call it destiny. And in the darkest of hours, when the world feels like thread unraveling, perhaps somewhere in the silence, the Moirai still weave, thread by thread, life by life, without pause, without end. Even the gods, immortal and mighty, found themselves caught in the Moirai's web. Though they stood above mortals, their own stories were not fully their own. Zeus, Poseidon, even Hades, all were said to have moments when they looked toward the loom in quiet dread, wondering if their thread, too, might one day be touched by Atropos. In the Iliad, Zeus considers saving his mortal son Sarpedon from death, but the Moirai have already woven the boy's end into the battle. Even Zeus must step back, helpless. This moment, whispered across centuries, became a reminder. Power does not free one from fate. It only sharpens its edge. Philosophers of ancient Greece debated the Moirai not with fear, but fascination. Plato wondered whether the soul chose its own fate before birth, led by Lachesis after death. Aristotle mused that perhaps fate and free will are not opposites, but dance together like shadows and flame. In quiet corners of forgotten temples, faded murals show the three sisters not as cold figures, but gentle ones. Clotho's smile is soft. Lachesis watches with patience. Atropos closes her eyes before she cuts. Maybe fate is not meant to frighten us. Maybe it is there to remind us how precious our choices are, even if the thread has limits. Maybe knowing the thread ends is what gives the weaving meaning. And perhaps, somewhere far beyond even the gods, there are weavers who weave the Moirai themselves. Some ancient mystics believed that the Moirai were not the final arbiters of destiny, but servants to an even older force, a cosmic rhythm that no being, mortal or divine, could ever name. A presence not bound by loom or thread, but by truth itself, the unchangeable order beneath all creation. In certain Orphic texts, a fourth figure is hinted at, Ananke, the personification of necessity and inevitability. Some say she existed before time began, wrapping the cosmos in unbreakable bonds. Even the Moirai, it was whispered, bowed their heads before Ananke. And so the question deepens. Is fate a choice made long before we are born? Or is it written second by second as we act, decide, regret, and hope? Imagine a newborn's cry echoing across time, and a new thread glowing into life. It weaves quietly beside others, brushing against souls it has not yet met. A stranger in the future may smile at the right moment, may fall in love, or save a life, all because your thread touched theirs. Fate, in this sense, is not a prison. It is a tapestry, and each thread is a story, sometimes brief, sometimes tangled, but always meaningful. So, the loom turns on, in silence, in stars, in us. The Norns, Norse whisperers at the well. Let us travel north now, to the land of frost and fire. There, beneath the world tree Yggdrasil, its roots vast enough to touch all realms, there flows the well of Urd. At its edge sit three sisters, older than memory. Urd, the past. Verdandi, the present. Skuld, the future. These are the Norns. Unlike their Greek counterparts, they do not spin or measure. Instead, they carve, runes etched deep into the bark of Yggdrasil, inscribed onto stones, bones, the wind. Each rune a destiny, each line a life. They do not judge, they do not command, they only record. Even Odin, the All-Father, god of wisdom and war, was humbled by them. He offered his eye for knowledge, but hung himself from Yggdrasil for 9 days to understand fate's deeper language. The Norns speak in silence, their whispers woven into the creak of trees, the howl of wolves, the lull of the northern wind. They sit not alone. At their feet are the creatures of myth. A dragon gnaws at Yggdrasil's roots. Ravens caw from above. Mortals gaze up, wondering if their fate has already been carved. The well of Urd is more than a pool of water. It is memory incarnate. Some say, if you gaze into it too long, you'll forget who you are. overwhelmed by everything you were. The Norns do not live as mortals do. They are not bound by seasons. They arrive where they are needed, at births, at deaths, during quiet moments before battles. Their runes hum with energy. Some shimmer faintly in moonlight. Others are carved so deep they echo. Travelers once claimed to see 3 veiled figures near their campfire, vanishing with the morning frost. Their dreams that night always held meaning. Sometimes a rune is smudged, a line redrawn. Can fate be adjusted? The Norns will not say, only the runes know. But the runes, they endure. They ripple through bark and stone, through blood and breath. Some are lost to time, hidden in ancient ice or buried in forgotten caves. Others still linger, in lullabies sung by grandmothers, in the way a sword is held before battle, in the names we carry without knowing why. The Norns have no temple, no altar, and yet all places are theirs. They walk where silence is thick, on frozen hills, in snow-covered forests, along riverbanks glazed with frost. Some say they can be heard just before the snow falls, when the world hushes and even time seems to hold its breath. And still, they carve into dreams, into fears, into the invisible lines that tie one life to another. There are stories of warriors who saw runes flash before their eyes mid-battle. A word, a symbol, an omen. They say those who heeded the signs lived. Those who did not became names in forgotten songs. Some villagers long ago would leave offerings beside trees, bits of bread, iron nails, carved bone, not to beg, but to thank, for a fate made known, or a fate quietly spared. The runes the Norns carve are not always harsh. Some are gentle, shaped with kindness, the quiet choice to love again, to begin anew, to forgive. And then there are runes etched in sorrow, the ones carved when a child is lost, when a storm comes early, when a king falls too soon. These are not punishments, they are markings of the path, winding, uncertain, necessary. Even the gods fear those runes. Tyre, the one-handed god of justice, once sought to change a single rune tied to his brother's doom. He returned from the well of Erd in silence, his eyes wet with understanding. Some threads must tighten before they break. The Norns do not answer prayers. They are not cruel nor kind. They are past, present, future. Sometimes they appear as old women, hunched and quiet. Other times as young girls weaving grass by the riverside. And sometimes they are wind, felt but unseen, moving through your thoughts just before a decision is made. Skalds and storytellers would say, if your bones ache before dawn, the Norns passed by. If your dream felt like memory, it was their whisper. And if you wake with purpose, unsure of why, perhaps a rune was drawn that night in the space between stars. So when you hear the trees creak or see 3 shadows pass under a full moon, listen. You may not understand the language, but your thread, your mark, has already been carved. And yet, some say the carving is not final. They whisper that certain souls, rare and restless, carry within them a rune that resists, a mark that flickers in and out of form, like breath on ice. These are the changers, the dreamers, the ones who walk paths that split in two. Legends speak of a woman who rewrote her fate by walking backward through a blizzard, chanting a forgotten name. Of a man who bled on the bark of Yggdrasil and emerged with a new rune burning beneath his skin. Of a child born beneath 2 moons whose rune could never be read, only felt. The Norns do not stop such things. They simply observe. And when such moments happen, they add a new symbol beside the old, not erasing, only expanding. For even in fate, there are fractures, small glimmers of choice hidden in the ice. In the northern night, beneath the aurora's silent fire, travelers still see visions. 3 silhouettes on the ridge, a low humming in the roots of trees, a word forming on their lips before they wake. Skalds say that when a rune is carved with trembling hands, its power echoes louder. A fate accepted with courage or met with defiance sings longer in the well of Erd. There is no final telling of your story. The Norns may carve the outline, but it is you who fills it with breath, with sorrow, with wonder. And perhaps that is the greatest mystery of all, that fate is not a chain, but a rhythm. And we are the dancers, bound not by force, but by music. So step softly when the wind is still. Watch the patterns in your dreams, and when the night is longest and the fire burns low, know this: the Norns are near, not to control, not to condemn, but to remember and to write. Threads around the world. Fate is not a concept unique to Greece or the Norse. It echoes across continents, through forests, deserts, and rivers. In Hindu belief, destiny is inscribed before birth. The goddess Shasti marks each infant with a scroll, unseen but eternal. In Slavic traditions, the Rozhanici appear on a child's 3rd night. They whisper futures into cradles, deciding if the child will grow strong, kind, clever, or cursed. In ancient Egypt, the goddess Shai wrote the name of each soul into the book of life. And Ma'at, the goddess of truth and balance, weighed that life's deeds against a feather. In China, the old man under the moon ties red strings between soulmates, an invisible connection across time and space. In Japan, this red thread appears again, binding fates, looping fingers, guiding love and tragedy alike. Among the Maya, the goddess Ixchel wove celestial patterns into the stars, her loom guiding the seasons, the crops, the heartbeat of nature itself. In the lands of the Celts, fate was written into the stars by goddesses called the Word Sisters, mysterious veiled beings who appeared at crossroads and on stormy cliffs. The Yoruba of West Africa tell of Ori, the spiritual head chosen before birth. To know your Ori is to walk in alignment with destiny. Native American traditions speak of Spider-Woman who wove the web of creation, her threads binding all beings together, past, present, and future. Threads, scrolls, knots, runes, rivers. Across every culture, there are those who weave, those who watch, and those who walk the threads unaware. Yet despite the differences in name, language, or symbol, the message remains the same. There is a design, and there are those who carry it. Some see it written in the stars, others feel it in their bones, some never notice it at all, until a single moment changes everything. In the Arctic, Inuit shamans speak of spirit lines, invisible, delicate threads stretched between people, animals, and the unseen. These lines, they say, can tangle with fear, fray with pride, or tighten with love. A skilled shaman reads them not with eyes, but with silence. a successful hunt, a safe journey, even the return of a dream, all depend on how gently one holds these lines. In the high Andes, Quechua weavers do not just create cloth, they recreate the world. Each color is chosen with care, each knot is a prayer. To them, the universe is a loom, and every life is a thread dyed in earth, sky, and memory. A good life is one that touches many other threads, not to bind them, but to dance beside them. In Aboriginal Dreamtime, the oldest stories are not written, they are sung. Ancestral beings moved across the land, singing its mountains, rivers, and creatures into being. Their songs left trails, called song lines, that still shimmer beneath the sands. To walk a song line is not merely to follow a path, but to step back into the first breath of creation. Each footstep, a note. Each note, a stitch in the great dreaming tapestry of life. In Basque lore, the Lamiak are not simply spirits, they are artists of destiny. By the moonlit banks of hidden rivers, they comb their hair with golden combs and braid others' fates into their own. It's said that if you stumble upon one and offer respect, she may braid your name into her hair, giving your life unexpected twists or protection against sorrow. The Sami people of Northern Europe listen not just to what is said, but to what is carried on the wind. Their Noaidi, the spiritual shamans, interpret cloud shapes, bird calls, ice cracks, and flickers of aurora as messages, soft, fragile runes written by the world. To them, fate is a snowfall, predictable in its arrival, but unpredictable in where each flake will land. In Polynesian tradition, Te Aho Tapu, the sacred thread, links every person to their genealogy, to their ancestors, to their sacred land. To forget your thread is to forget your name. To remember it is to walk with dignity and spirit. To plant the same seeds your ancestors once planted. To look at the stars and know they shine for you too. The Mongolian steppe is wide and endless, but even here, destiny flows. The eternal blue sky, the Tengri, watches all. Some say each cloud is a passing fate, heavy with choices made or left behind. Horsemen watch the horizon not just for weather, but for omens. To ride with the wind is to ride with fate. To resist it is to be left behind. Even today, in the most modern rituals, the lighting of birthday candles, the tying of wedding threads, the tossing of graduation caps, there are remnants of the thread, unseen, unspoken, but still there, still binding, still weaving. Fate is in the silence between words, in the paths we almost took, in the stranger who smiled when we needed it most, in every land, in every breath, in every prayer whispered into wind or smoke. Someone remembers, we are not walking alone. We are walking on thread, ancient, alive, intertwined. Threads pulled by memory, held by ancestors, stitched by gods, and sometimes braided by our own hands. Because fate is not always what happens to us. Sometimes it's what we dare to shape from what we've been given. Whether it is called fate, karma, spirit, or song, it hums beneath everything. And if we are very quiet, in dream, in grief, in love, we may feel it. A tug, a tremble, a quiet pull from the center of the universe itself. A whisper from the tapestry, reminding us that we are not the whole pattern, but we are part of it, and we are never, ever alone. And yet, even knowing we are part of something greater, we still wonder, how much is ours to shape? How much is already carved into the wood of the world? Across centuries, across empires and rainforests, mountains and coastlines, The question is always the same, whispered by monks, murmured by elders, traced in children's lullabies. What thread is mine? Some believe it is revealed in moments of silence, in the stillness before a storm, in the breath held before a kiss, in the quiet between two heartbeats. Others say it's felt in déjà vu, or in the pull toward a place you've never been, a face you've never seen. But somehow, remember. In villages of Eastern Africa, griots tell stories passed down through voice alone. These tales carry not just morals, but direction, embedded like seeds in the soul. To listen to them is not just to learn, but to remember what was already known. In the shadowed forests of Eastern Europe, it's said that spirits tie threads to trees, one for each traveler who passes beneath. Some are light and fluttering, others hang heavy, tangled with regret. No one sees them, but everyone feels them. In Bali, offerings are left each day, small woven baskets of flowers and rice, not out of fear but gratitude, not to ask for more, but to honor the thread that already holds. Every step, every word becomes sacred when you know it is part of something woven. Even in cities pulsing with neon light and concrete sprawl, people tie red threads to gates, write names on lanterns, wear talismans against the wrist. The old ways have not disappeared. They have only changed form. Because no matter where or who we are, something ancient walks beside us, not as a shadow, but as a thread. And every choice, every moment of wonder or grief is a stitch in the great design. You were never meant to see the full tapestry, but you were always meant to add to it, with your love, your mistakes, your silence, your song. So walk gently, honor the thread you hold, and know it holds you too. Now breathe. Imagine you knew your fate. Would you walk toward it or run? Would Julius Caesar still cross the Rubicon, knowing betrayal waited? Would Joan of Arc still raise her sword, hearing the fire in her future? Would you still make that call, take that leap, say those words, if you knew where they led? Sometimes a thread tangles, a war breaks out. A child is lost. A choice changes everything. Is it still fate, or is it free will? Stories differ. Some say fate is iron, cold and final. Others say it flows, soft like silk, pliable to courage or love. Some ancient schools believed fate wrote only beginnings. The rest was a collaboration between soul and world. Others believed in layers of fate, some light, some heavy, where a few choices are inevitable, but many are ours to bend. Perhaps fate is not a map, but a compass. You may be guided north, but the path you take is still yours to walk. The Greeks told of heroes defying prophecy. The Norse told of Ragnarok, a fate even the gods could not escape. And yet, even Ragnarok is rebirth. The tree remains. The threads continue. Perhaps fate is not our prison, but our companion. Perhaps we walk with it, changing it as we go. Perhaps fate is not a chain around our wrists, but a hand at our back, sometimes guiding, sometimes steadying, sometimes simply present. What if fate is not the storm, but the wind in your sail? What if it whispers, rather than commands? What if it waits, patient, watching, to see if you'll turn left or right? Would Romeo still climb that balcony? Would Cleopatra still choose the asp? Would you still step into the unknown, knowing how the story ends? And even if you knew the ending, would you still want to feel it? The sun on your face, the cold of the river, the crack in your voice when you say their name. Because perhaps fate is not about control, not about certainty, but about presence. To walk your path with your eyes wide, to meet what comes with open hands, to say yes, even when no feels safer. Some say we are born into a script, but maybe we are born into a rhythm, a song sung long ago, but still waiting for your verse. And your voice matters, even when it trembles, even when it breaks. The old myths were never about obeying fate. They were about dancing with it, about stepping into the dark, knowing only that the thread will hold. And sometimes, that is enough. So breathe again. Feel your feet beneath you. Know that your thread, tangled or taut, bright or frayed, is still part of the great weave. And as you move forward, with fear, with hope, with fire, fate walks beside you, not as a master, but as a mirror, reflecting who you've been, and who, still, you may become. And who, still, you may become. That, perhaps, is the truest mystery of all. Not the moment you were born, or the moment your story ends, but the space between, the silent unfolding, the choices no one sees but you. Because fate is not only in great battles and grand betrayals, it lives in smaller things, in the moment you choose to speak or to stay silent, in the glance you return or the one you avoid, in the letter you never send, in the dream you almost follow. Some say fate is a river, winding, unstoppable. Others call it a road, dusty, ancient, shaped by footsteps long before your own. But what if it's a garden, and your every act, every kindness, every cruelty is a seed? Would you plant more gently? Would you water the ones you once left to wither? Would you see fate not as what awaits, but what grows beside you? Even the gods, with their temples, their thunder, their tragedy, were not immune to fate's soft voice. They too loved. They too wept. They too fell. And yet, they rose again, different, wiser, changed not because fate demanded it, but because they stepped forward anyway. Perhaps that is the secret written between the lines of every myth, that fate does not end the story, it only opens the door. What you do beyond it, that is the tale worth telling. So let your footsteps be slow, let your heart remain open, let your thread stretch, fragile, glowing, into places unknown. You will stumble, you will grieve, you will doubt, and yet, with each breath, you continue the weave. You add color to the pattern. You give the thread its tension, its texture, its strength. Because fate alone is not the story. You are, in the quiet moments, in the fierce ones, in the ones where you choose, despite it all, to keep walking. So tonight, as the stars turn above you, as your breath slows and your eyes grow heavy, remember this: fate is beside you, but it does not carry you. It walks with you, not as a map, not as a chain, but as a thread, tied gently to your soul, waiting to see where you will go next. Not because it already knows, but because even fate is curious. Curious about your courage, curious about your choices, curious about the way your thread will bend the tapestry just slightly, enough to echo through time. Because your path is not just your own. Every step you take sends ripples. Every word you speak touches 100 unseen threads. You may never know the lives you shift, with a kindness you thought was small, with a decision made in the dark, with a silence that protected someone you'll never meet. Fate is not watching to punish or reward. It watches to witness, to record, to remember that you were here. There are stories buried in every heartbeat, moments that shine only once, a glance across a crowded room, a thought you never speak aloud, a song you hum without knowing where it came from, passed down maybe, from threads older than language. What if you've walked this thread before? Not once, not twice, but countless times. Each life a strand spun beside others, some familiar, some forgotten. And what if this moment, this breath right now, is the meeting point of all those lives? A single luminous knot, holding every joy, every loss, every becoming. Would you treat it differently? Would you slow down, listen more deeply, love more fully? Would you understand that the thread you hold was once held by others, and one day will pass to someone new? That you are part of a lineage of souls, not just of blood, but of story, of those who dared, of those who broke, of those who mended. And you, here, are still weaving, still choosing, still giving meaning to the myth. Even now, as your body grows still, as the night deepens, as the world quiets around you, the thread remains, warm, alive, moving gently through the loom of existence. You may not know where it leads. You may not see the pattern, but the pattern sees you, and you are not lost within it. You are the reason it continues. Every fear you faced, every hope you held, every time you chose to begin again, you added light to the weave. So breathe. Let go. Not because your path is over, but because tonight you rest beside it. Tomorrow, the thread will stretch onward, and fate, gentle, quiet, waiting, will walk beside you once more. The silent watchers, guardians beyond fate. Beyond the great tapestry woven by the sisters of fate, beyond the threads pulled and runes carved, there exist gentle, unseen guardians. These silent watchers do not shape our destiny, but rather walk alongside it, protecting, guiding, and sometimes whispering subtle changes into the fabric of life. Across cultures and time, these spirits take many forms. In Japan, the kitsune, the mystical fox spirits, are revered as cunning yet kind guides. Said to possess the power to shift fate's course, these ethereal beings often appear to lost travelers, lighting their path with flickering lanterns or leaving delicate footprints in the snow. Their presence is a reminder that fate is not always fixed. Sometimes a nudge from a guardian can open new possibilities. Native American traditions tell of spirit animals, companions born from the earth and sky, who walk with us through life's turning points. The wolf offers courage, the owl brings wisdom, and the deer imparts gentleness. These protectors do not rewrite our stories, but walk the path with us, their quiet strength helping us face the unknown. In Celtic lore, the Sida, fairy folk of the ancient hills, stand as custodians of natural magic. Their realm lies just beyond the veil of human sight, a world of shimmering light and whispering shadows. The Sida are believed to protect sacred places and those who honor the land, sometimes bending fate's threads to safeguard what is precious. Yet their help comes with mystery, as their favors often come wrapped in riddles and twilight dreams. These silent watchers move softly at the edges of our awareness. They are the breath between heartbeats, the flicker of moonlight through leaves, the warmth felt in moments of quiet hope. Though unseen, their presence is a comfort, that we are never truly alone on our journey through fate. These watchers do not fix fate. They do not untangle every thread, but they add grace. They soften the knots. They shine light on the path when all other lanterns have gone out. Some say they are echoes of your past lives. Others say they are spirits of the land. Still others believe they are parts of yourself, the oldest parts, returning to walk with you until you remember. Remember what? That you are not just living your story. You are co-writing it. And these guardians are the quiet editors, the gentle hands that steady your own as you write the next line. So when the road bends, when the wind shifts, when something ancient stirs just beyond your reach, know this: they are near, always, waiting not to lead, but to walk beside you as you take your next step into the unknown. They are near, not in front to command, not behind to push, but beside you, a breath in the silence, a presence in the pause, a flicker in the periphery of your knowing. Their footsteps make no sound, but their influence ripples quietly through time. You'll find them not only in sacred groves or ancient ruins, but in the moments between, in the whisper of wind before a decision, in the stillness after a dream, in the ache that leads you towards something forgotten. Because the unknown is not empty. It's full of watchers, of memory, of moments not yet born. And when you step forward, even afraid, even uncertain, they step with you. In West African cosmology, the Egungun, ancestral spirits, dance through festivals wearing veils and vibrant cloth, blurring the line between the living and the departed. They do not visit merely for tradition. They arrive to remind us that those who walked before still walk with us. In the sacred traditions of the Maori, the concept of Wakapapa threads every person to every ancestor, every mountain, every wave. You do not stand alone, they say. You are backed by 1,000 generations. Your very breath is borrowed from their stories. And when you speak with truth, they speak with you. In Sufi mysticism, the khutbah, the spiritual pole, is the axis around which divine wisdom flows. The true guardians of fate may not be visible, but their presence aligns hearts. You feel them in poetry, in longing, in the beauty that appears where none should exist. Even in ancient China, old Taoist texts speak of immortals who travel the world not as rulers or heroes, but as quiet guides. They live in remote mountains, disguised as beggars or musicians, offering a single word, a glance, a cup of tea that changes everything. Across every culture, every era, the story repeats. There are those who move through the margins, who appear at dusk and vanish at dawn, who offer not answers, but presence. They do not walk with the loud or the proud. They walk with the ones who ask the sky questions, the ones who pause at crossroads, the ones who feel more than they can explain. You may call them spirits, or echoes, ancestors, or simply intuition. It does not matter. What matters is this: they are real, not in body, but in being. They do not guide with force, but with a presence so steady, you only notice it once it's gone. You felt it, in the decision that came from nowhere but felt right, in the comfort that arrived without explanation, in the timing that defied logic. These are their gifts, subtle, silent, sacred. And the more you honor them, with stillness, with reverence, with truth, the closer they stay, not to change your path, but to walk it with you, to remind you, even in your loneliest moments, that your thread is never truly alone in the loom. It is touched, it is watched, it is blessed by those who ask nothing in return but your willingness to see. And if you do see, if even once you look beyond the veil, you may find them smiling, not with mouths, but with light, with presence, ever near, ever quiet, ever waiting for you to remember you never walk alone. Dreams, the loom of the mind. As the night deepens and your eyes grow heavy, your mind begins its own weaving through the realm of dreams. Dreams have long been thought of as threads pulled from the tapestry of fate itself. They are whispers from what was, glimpses of what might be, and reflections of what is. Across time and cultures, dreams have been viewed as sacred messages, guiding lights, and mysterious journeys. The ancient Egyptians believed dreams were a language of the gods, a way to communicate hidden truths and warnings. Priests kept careful records of dreams, interpreting symbols to advise kings and commoners alike. In Greek tradition, the god Morpheus was said to shape dreams, delivering visions that foretold the future or healed the soul. Dreams could be prophecies or lessons, whispered in the quiet hours before dawn. The Norse saw dreams as journeys of the soul, carved by the Norns themselves. To dream was to glimpse the threads of fate, to walk between worlds and catch sight of what lies beyond mortal understanding. Modern psychology tells us dreams help process our waking lives, our hopes, fears, memories, integrating them into the deeper self. Dreams may be our mind's loom, weaving meaning from the threads of experience. Tonight, as you surrender to sleep, your dreams will weave their own stories. They will dance between the known and unknown, between past and future, stitching together your waking life with the mysteries beyond. Let the gentle threads of your dreams wrap you now, soft and slow, guiding you into peaceful rest. And as these threads wrap around you, silken, slow, full of shimmer, your spirit begins to drift. Not away, but within. Into that vast, quiet realm where reality softens and something older begins to speak. For in dreams, time forgets its edges. You may walk beside your childhood self, or glimpse the face of someone you've yet to meet. You may fly without wings, or fall and never touch the ground. But always, behind the symbols and strange skies, a presence lingers, a witness, a whisper, a thread pulling gently through the fog, asking you to remember, you are more than waking. You are story, spirit, memory, mystery. In Aboriginal cultures of Australia, dreams are not just nighttime wanderings. They are part of the dreamtime, an eternal sacred plane that shaped the land, the animals, and the people. To dream is to return, to walk among ancestors, to receive wisdom carried in songlines older than time itself. In the Andes, Quechua shamans speak of dream bridges, pathways across the mountains of sleep where messages arrive not as words, but as visions and feelings. Some dreams bring healing, others bring direction, but all are gifts. Among the Iroquois, dreams are considered wishes of the soul. To ignore them is to risk imbalance. To honor them is to feed your spirit. to align your waking life with what your deeper self already knows. Even in modern life, the science agrees. In dreams, our minds sort and solve. They stitch fragments together, turning confusion into clarity. They take sorrow and soften it. They take fear and unravel it. And sometimes they simply cradle us. No lesson, no warning, just a place to be, safely, silently seen. Perhaps tonight you'll dream of water, vast oceans beneath a sky of stars, perhaps of ancient halls filled with candlelight and forgotten names. Perhaps of nothing at all, just stillness, floating, a sense of being held. There is no wrong way to dream. Whether it's a vivid story or a fading shimmer, each dream is a thread. Each thread belongs. So as your breath slows and your body sinks deeper into rest, trust that the dream world is waiting. Not just to show you what could be, but to remind you of what already lives within you. A memory you didn't know you had, a truth you were too busy to hear, a comfort you've needed without asking. The gods may no longer visit in chariots or thunder, but in dreams, they still arrive. In forms familiar and strange, in colors that have no name, in echoes that hum long after waking. So let yourself go now. Let your thoughts dissolve like mist. Let your heart soften like silk against the pillow of stars. The loom of the night spins on. Your dreams begin to weave, and the threads they pull tonight may lead you gently into something sacred, something true, something only your soul remembers. Sleep now. The guardians will keep watch, and your dreams will take flight. Sleep now. Let your body melt into the earth's breath. Let the last traces of waking fall away like leaves in twilight. Let the hush of the stars deepen around you. The guardians will keep watch, at the edges of your mind, in the quiet corners of your room, in the pulse of silence that holds you between each breath. You are not falling. You are floating. You are not drifting away. You are being gently carried inward, toward that glowing center where dreams begin. And your dreams, ancient, intimate, infinite, are not random. They are letters written in a language older than sound. They are songs composed before your first breath, waiting now to be heard once more. Some dreams arrive like fire, burning through illusion, lighting the shadows you've buried. Others come like water, cooling, cleansing, showing you reflections you've never seen. Still others are the wind, sweeping you across oceans, mountaintops, and lives that may not be your own, yet feel familiar. You may find yourself walking through a forest of glass, each tree holding a memory. You may sit with a version of yourself you left behind, child, elder, stranger, and they may smile or cry or speak the words you've long forgotten. You may soar into the sky and look down at your life, not with judgment, but with wonder. Not with fear, but with understanding. You may realize that the pain you carry is not a chain, but a thread, woven through with lessons, light, and lineage. In some dreams, you are the hero. In others, the observer. And in the rarest, you are the weaver, thread in hand, choosing. And what you choose in dreams sometimes lingers. You wake with clarity, with softness, with courage you didn't know you'd planted. Shamans say that dreams are not escapes, but rehearsals. Sacred practice runs for the soul. What you mend in a dream, you begin to heal in waking life. What you face in a dream, you rob of its power. What you love in a dream, you bring closer with every heartbeat. So let your dreams unfold. Let them stretch long and wide. Let them wrap around old grief and carry it gently downstream. Let them sweep you across lifetimes, where you meet those you lost or never knew, and say what was never said. Perhaps tonight you will speak to a god, or to the child you once were. Perhaps you will walk beside an ancestor or a future self. Or perhaps you will rest, held in the arms of silence, and that will be enough. There are dreams that feel like stories, others like songs, and some that feel like home. Wherever your dreams take you tonight, they do so with purpose. Even if you never remember them, they remember you. So let go now. Let go completely. Let the night take your worries, your questions, your waiting. You have entered the sacred space where nothing must be done, where being is enough, where breath becomes story, and sleep becomes the gateway between the stars. The loom turns, the thread stretches, the dream begins, and you are safe within it, wrapped in its rhythm, cradled by the myth. Sleep, deeply, softly, completely. We will meet you again in the next dream. We will meet you again in the next dream, in the one after that, and in the quiet place between dreaming and waking, where memory fades but presence lingers. You may not recall our faces. You may forget the path, the symbols, the stars, but something will remain, a knowing, a gentleness in your breath, a whisper in your bones that says, you are not alone, because sleep is not just rest, it is return, a return to what you are when the world forgets its name, to what you carry beneath language, to what sings softly within you when all else grows still. In this place, time does not pass. It pools, like moonlight on calm water. Every moment you've lived, every moment you've yet to live, coexist here, folded gently into the fabric of your dreaming self. Perhaps you will find yourself walking on stardust, each grain a memory of something sacred. Perhaps you'll sail across a silver sea, the boat built from your quietest hopes, or rest in the roots of an ancient tree whose leaves whisper lullabies in voices that belong to those you've loved. And if you look to the sky, you may see not stars, but threads, endless, glowing, intertwining and unraveling, weaving you into the breath of the cosmos. There are dreams made of longing, of reunion, of stories paused lifetimes ago, now continuing without a sound. You may meet someone with eyes like yours, a guide, a friend, a stranger who knows your name, and without speaking, they will lead you deeper into caverns lit by memory, through doorways carved from silence, toward the place where your truest self waits. And what will you find there? Not answers, perhaps, but understanding. Not solutions, but softness. Not a map, but a mirror, clear, gentle, forgiving. Because dreams are not puzzles to be solved, but gardens to walk through. You do not rush them, you do not conquer them. You simply let them bloom. And tonight, you are blooming, even now. As your breath slows, as your body becomes part of the bed, the earth, the stars, as your heartbeat finds the rhythm of ancient drums echoing from somewhere beyond the veil. All is well, all is held. The guardians still stand watch, not outside your door, but inside your silence. The weavers still spin, not with thread, but with thought, with soul, with memory. The myths still sing, not in words, but in waves of warmth and wonder that wrap around your sleeping form. You may journey through snow-covered temples, or fly over forests where every tree remembers your name. You may visit lives you've never lived, as a monk, a queen, a wanderer, a wolf, and wake with a strange comfort that makes no sense, but feels entirely true. This is the gift of dream. To return you to what was, reveal what might be, and cradle you in what is, this breath, this peace, this moment. So let the night grow deeper still. Let your soul wander freely, without fear, without urgency. No path is wrong. No destination is required. You are not lost. You are exploring. Even now, the threads continue to move. Even now, the myth continues to unfold. And you, yes, you, are the sacred center of it all. So sleep. Sleep without resistance. Sleep without expectation. And know, somewhere just beyond your final thought, the dream is waiting. The loom is turning. The thread is glowing. And the myth, your myth, is beginning again. Closing whisper, as the stars shimmer above and the night deepens. Your breathing slows. You are no longer in your room. You are floating through myths, wrapped in threads older than memory. The sisters of fate are not your enemies. They are not watching to punish. They watch to remember, to witness your story. And tonight, that story rests, safe, wrapped in starlight, cradled in silence. And as you drift deeper into sleep, feel the presence of those who came before you. The quiet ones, the watchers, the weavers. Somewhere your thread stretches out, vibrant, unfinished, full of possibility. May it cross threads that make you feel alive. May it avoid those that dim your light. May it be long and full of meaning. Sleep now, dreamer, gently. Dream richly. The myth continues, and midnight is still young. Sleep now, dreamer. Let go of the day's weight, the questions, the noise, the ache behind your eyes. Let it all dissolve, like ink in moonlit water. Let it drift behind you, where it belongs. You have stepped into another time now, one that does not tick or rush, but simply breathes. Gently, you are being carried, not by hands, but by memory, not by force, but by story. Dream richly, in colors not seen by daylight, in feelings that have no names. Let your dreams take you to the halls of forgotten gods, to temples where your name is already carved in stone. Let them show you not just what could be, but who you've always been becoming. You are not merely sleeping, you are reuniting with the ones who once held you in dreams, with the ancestors who watch quietly from the corners of time, with the sacred part of yourself that only awakens once the world has gone still. Somewhere, a thread glows softly in the darkness. Yours, still weaving, still winding, still connected to every soul you've ever touched and those you've yet to meet. The fates do not sleep, but they smile. For tonight, your thread rests easy in their hands. No shadow can reach you here. No sorrow can stain this space. You are wrapped in silence deeper than snow, brighter than memory, truer than words. Let the night cradle you. Let the stars bear witness to your becoming. Let the fabric of fate soften around your shoulders like a shawl spun from dreamlight. And if you wake before dawn, stillness will remain. A hush in your chest, a warmth in your spirit. Proof that the myth walked beside you in the dark and left its mark. The story does not end here. It waits patiently for morning, for the next thread, for the next breath. But for now, let go. Let yourself dissolve into myth, into memory, into meaning. The loom still turns, the dream still flows, the myth continues, and midnight is still very, very young. The loom still turns, not with haste, but with patience. Each thread laid down with care, each knot tied with wisdom, each color chosen from the palette of eternity. The dream still flows, winding through rivers older than memory, gliding over stones of forgotten prayers, whispering through branches that have held the same wind since the dawn of stars. And the myth, the myth continues, because myths are not relics of the past. They are the roots beneath your present, the quiet architects of wonder, the heartbeat behind your deepest questions. Midnight is still very, very young, still unfolding its petals, still humming its lullaby to the moon, still holding space for you, the dreamer, the wanderer, the weaver. Even now, as your breathing settles into the rhythm of the stars, you are part of something vast. You are lying in a cocoon spun not of silk, but of memory, story, and the kindness of unseen watchers. Far above you, the constellations shift, silent storytellers painting your name into the sky. And deep below, the roots of the world pulse softly, as if recognizing you, welcoming you home. In this moment, you are neither beginning nor ending. You are becoming. Every breath you take pulls stardust into your lungs. Every heartbeat echoes with ancient rhythms. Every cell in your body remembers something holy. And all around you, the fates still weave, the Norns still carve, the Sida still whisper, the spider still spins. Not just for the great heroes and gods of story, but for you, because you too are sacred thread. You too are myth made flesh. You are not outside the story. You are the story. You are the journey, the question, the echo, the dream. So rest now, dear traveler of twilight. Let the last edges of waking fall away like petals. Let the hush of starlight cradle your thoughts. Let your soul float weightless on the current of sleep. There is no need to understand where the path leads, only to walk it with wonder, or tonight, to dream it. If morning comes softly, let it find you restored. If dreams find you first, let them find you open. There are still threads left to weave, still myths to remember, still stories written in your breath. Sleep deeply, truly, eternally connected. And when you wake, the loom will still be turning, the thread will still be golden, and the myth will still be yours.